And we'll go ahead and move on to our Seattle Mariners now.
Yeah, so I mean, the past week for the Mariners, I mean, the past homestand against the Rays and the Phillies wasn't too kind. I know that we went over the end of the road trip against the Astros and then the beginning of the series, the homestand against the Rays, which wasn't ideal already. With that being said, we look at this series against the Philadelphia Phillies, a team that's got a lot of talent up and down their starting lineup, let alone their pitching. We look here at this 3-game series against the Phillies, May 9th versus the Phillies, a 0-9 loss. Obviously, no player of the game there. That was just an embarrassing game to be a part of. I mean, it was Chris Flexen's start day, and Chris has been a part of, I think, 4 or 5 shutouts now that the Mariners have played in, and he's pitched well in the majority of them. I think this one was the lone outlier. I mean, 9 runs. It was just difficult. You're playing against guys like Bryce Harper, Rhys Hoskins, Nick Castellanos. It was a brutal game. That 0-9 loss, it was hard to watch. May 10th versus the Phillies, a 5-4 win, so they come back and rebound pretty well. Player of the game, first baseman Ty France, going 2 for 3 with 1 run, 1 RBI, and 1 walk. Robbie Ray had the start there, so Ray Day striking out 10, the first Mariner to do so this season in a game May 11th versus the Phillies to play the rubber match and to wrap up that series, a 2-4 loss. So Seattle drops the series to the Phillies there. Player of the game, once again, Ty France going 2 for 4 with an RBI. So, we look at that. I mean, again, this is a Philly roster that's really solid. It's got a lot of firepower already. Bryce Harper is one of the best players in the league already. He's dealing with a UCL injury and he's playing DH and he's still producing for them. There's talent up and down this roster. Gene Segura, a former Mariner, Rhys Hoskins had 3 home runs in 3 days against the Mariners, which wasn't ideal, including a grand slam, I believe, in that final game. So Rhys Hoskins raised hell. It was a tough game. It was a tough series. And then it didn't get any easier for the Mariners with this road trip that we talked about, the Mets, and we'll look at these Mets scores in a second. But then now, starting today, they'll play Toronto, which some of the players will not be able to play in that series because they're unvaccinated. Unvaccinated players cannot play in Canada, let alone enter the country, I believe. And then going down to play the Red Sox. And I know that their records aren't the best right now, but these are ball clubs that I expect to turn it on and expect to be in the playoff race once we come summer. So following tough series against the Rays, who have been in the playoffs for years now and may turn the corner this year, I don't know for sure, and the Phillies, who I expect to be in the playoffs, and then go on this road trip. It's not any easier for the Mariners, so they got to figure things out. They go to play the Mets, who going into this series, I believe, were 22-11, had not lost a series to anyone at all. So Seattle comes to town, I believe, for the first time since 2008. They go to play at Citi Field. May 13th at the Mets, a 2-1 win. Player of the game, first baseman Ty France, seeing a trend here. Ty France, one of the best hitters in baseball, let alone the American League. Going 1 for 3 with a run and an RBI. Obviously, part of one of the 2 runs there. Marco Gonzalez had a great start, only giving up the 1 run. May 14th at the Mets, losing that one 4-5. Still, it's a 1-run game, though. Yeah. Not bad, playing against one of the best teams in baseball at the moment. Player of the game, left fielder Jesse Winker, going 2 for 4 with a run, 3 RBIs, and a walk. And just for some background on that game, Winker, I think it was that 3-run homer that he hit. And there's some history with Winker since his time with the Reds. So he gave the fans a nice little home run trot around the base paths and some waving once he hit home plate, which was fun. There was some discourse with this Philly series, and we'll get to that in this final game here of the series. So win 1, lose 1, playing the rubber match of the series, May 15th at the Mets, winning that game 8-7, probably closer than it should have been. The Mariners had an 8-4 lead at one point. Player of the game, though, center fielder and rookie Julio Rodriguez, going 4 for 4, 2 runs, 2 RBIs, a walk, hitting his second homer of his career. And with that 4 for 4 game, becoming the youngest Mariner with a 4-hit game since Alex Rodriguez back in 1996. We'll get more to Julio in a second, but that Mets series, you're playing one of the best teams in baseball. You're the first team to win a series against them all season. It's pretty good. And I know last year, this Mariner ball club was struggling. They played a 2-game set against the Padres then in San Diego, and they got shelled in one of those games. And people are like, hey, what are we expecting this year? And then they turned things around. from that point on. Is that Mets series the turning point? I cannot tell you for sure because obviously it just happened.
Right.
But that definitely could. You play one of the best teams in baseball. The bats wake up decently. Jesse Winker getting to the form that we had hoped he would be when the news broke while we were recording that we had traded for him. Marco had a solid start in that game. Robbie Ray could really have improved in the start that he pitched in. But overall, it was a positive series, I'd say. So we will get over to player of the week here. And it was easy. There was no differentiating opinions. We both had center fielder Julio Rodriguez over the past week in 23 plate appearances, 9 hits, 2 runs, 1 double, 1 homer, 4 RBIs, 13 total bases, 2 walks, a 391 batting average. So just a 391 batting average over the past 7 days. A 440 on base percentage, a 565 slugging percentage, and a 1.005 on base plus slugging. So I know that when the season started, right, there might have been some hiccups with Julio. He's figuring stuff out though. He's 22 now. 22. I think he might be
21.
21. Yeah, that's right. He's a young guy. He's only going to get better. He's now hitting for the month of May. He's hitting 346 and 264 for the season as a whole, which is 4th best on this ball club. Mm-hmm. So for a 21-year-old to be hitting the 4th best on this team, does it have its caveats? Would you like for other guys to be stepping up? Yes. But Julio continues to improve. There's only up. He can only continue to learn more and more. And he's got Ichiro on this ball club to learn from. Ken Griffey Jr. is in the organization still. Mm-hmm. Edgar Martinez, I've seen him around the ball club still. So, it's incredible to continue to see his success. He's getting better in the outfield. I know he made some mistakes, but he continues to be as advertised. I mean, do you have anything you'd want to add on to that?
Yeah, it's not too far in the season, and to see him improving this much already is a great sign. I think he had that 1 homer that tied the game at 5-5.
Yes, I believe it was a tie.
And then Rodriguez joins Ken Griffey Jr. and Alex Rodriguez as the only Mariners players 21 or younger to reach base 5 times in 1 game. So he's not just stealing bases anymore. Nope. He's stepping up, and it's exciting to see.
And I like that you mentioned the base running, because there was a key point that said if he can put the base running and the hitting offense of his hitting aspect of his offense together, that's a really dangerous thing to do, because obviously some guys are great hitters, but they don't really provide you much on the base pass. So, no, I mean, hey, if he can continue to contribute and continue to grow, that's one of the best things you can take from this season.
For sure.
Good point out on that. Heading over to injury news, which again is never fun, as we always tell you. They're updates, so they're not the worst thing in the world. That we get a better idea of what's going on. On the 12th, we got some injury updates on some players, including Mitch Haniger. Haniger could be out until July. DePoto said that the team has not established a timeline, so kind of a differentiating opinion there. With these ankle sprains, it's kind of hard to tell, depending on the what the severity of it is. But it could be out until July, so we might not see Mitch for a while. Kyle Lewis, the team likes how he's hitting in AAA with the Rainiers down in Tacoma. Not encouraged necessarily by how he feels after a day of playing defense, but he's continuing to build up strength and continuing to get back into the routine, maybe able to join the team during the later part of the road trip. We'll see about that. Tom Murphy, if everything goes great, he could be with us here by the end of the trip, but we'll wait and see. No timeline on him. So, again, kind of could be at the end of the road trip against the Red Sox. We'll see about that. And then Sergio Romo. Sergio will be on the plane with us, is what Scott Service said in that Wednesday game before against Philly, and then he has since joined the club. So Romo's back, but you look at that, right, really quickly. Tom Murphy, your best hitting catcher at the moment, probably your best catcher in general at the moment. Kyle Lewis, 2020 Rookie of the Year, and a guy who swings a good bat. And Mitch Haniger, a guy who is a valuable addition to this offense as well. So, I mean, you're missing some offense, and you win a series against the Mets. It's not the worst thing in the world. Continuing to chug along here as we look at team-related news. A bunch of roster-related stuff, but it's important to look at this today, considering, as we mentioned, the unvaccinated thing. Unvaccinated players cannot enter Canada. And that series against the Blue Jays starts today, actually. So with roster-related news, on the 11th, the Mariners traded infielder Donovan Walton to the Giants for right-handed pitcher Prelander Baroa?
I think Baroa, yeah.
Baroa? Okay. May 13th, a bunch of moves were made, 8 to be exact. Sergio Romo was reinstated from the injured list. Steven Souza Jr. was selected from AAA Tacoma. Mike Ford reports to the club. Adrian Sampson was claimed off of waivers from the Cubs. Jared Kelnick and Denny Young were optioned to Tacoma. And as you see the photo of Kelnick that we've gotten here by Matt Bermudez, I told Matt today, it's a really damn good photo. The pink really popped. He did a great job. There's a quote from Service about how Kelnick handled being sent down to Tacoma, saying stepping back right now is the right thing, and he understands it. He wasn't totally shocked. Obviously, he's going through this before being sent down. The reaction last year was much different than it was today. And quickly, I want to address this. I think this was the right move. I get it. He's been seeing the ball well. The coaches have been talking about his defense in right field. But ultimately, if you cannot hit off-speed pitching, if you can't hit the curveball, can't hit the changeup, can't hit the slider, a bunch of pitchers in this league are going to have their way with you. He's still 22. A prime in Major League Baseball is 26, 27. I'm not worried about Jared Kelnick. I'm not worried about it. And I know that through as many at-bats, nobody is this and that. There's always a first for everything. And I think he's got the talent. He's got the support around him to be able to do that. But there's so much pressure put on by the fans and even probably by himself. I think the general messaging was to send him down to Tacoma and to learn how to have fun playing this game again. Because at the end of the day, you are playing a game. You're playing a game for money. You're playing a game to entertain people. You got to get back to basics. I think you have to get back to basics. And a lot of the time you see him, he's in his head when he's up there. He's in his own head. So I think he needs a reset. I think he needs a reset. You've got the outfielder depth. You've got the logjam to be able to be okay with that. Like when Kyle Lewis and Mitch Haniger come back, Jared probably would have been sent down anyway.
Yeah.
So sure. I think it's the right thing to happen. And I think just let him, once he figures it out and is able to just enjoy it again, hey, bring him back, and then we will have to decide what we do with one of those outfielders.
Do you think that Julio, also being a young guy and having the kind of success that he's having, puts extra pressure on Kelnick?
I think in a way it does.
Yeah.
But a lot of the reaction that we've seen between interaction that I've seen with them has been good.
Yeah.
Like friends about it. So I don't think it's like, oh, I hate you that you're here and you're doing well. But you have to think about that though, right? Because if someone else comes up in your same position and is doing well and is around your age, you're going to think, oh, shoot. It's like a Toy Story when he drops Woody. I don't want to play with you anymore. I think he's going to be fine. I think it does get into his head again, but that goes back into the mental aspect of it.
Yeah,
I think he's
sure.
so in over his head that he needs to reset. So that's my piece on that. I know there's a lot of people, I expected this. I get that. And I get the people who want to give up. But at the end of the day, he's 22. Relax a little bit.
Push the brakes.
Yeah. So we'll continue with roster moves here. After the Kelnick and Young moves, Stuart Fairchild was optioned to AAA Tacoma and then designated for assignment. Johan Ramirez was designated for assignment, and Mike Ford that same day, obviously, he reported to the club, but he was acquired via trade for cash consideration. So sent him down to the Giants for cash, traded back for him from the Giants for cash. On the 14th, Denny Young was recalled from AAA Tacoma, and Eric Swanson was placed on the 15-day injured list with right shoulder inflammation. On the 15th, the team acquired infielder Alex Blandino and cash from San Francisco. So a lot of moves from San Francisco this year in exchange for Stuart Fairchild. So wish you the best, Stuart. And then on the 16th, the team selected left-handed pitcher Rowenis Elias from AAA Tacoma and placed Drew Steckenrider on the restricted list. So Steckenrider, the first move there in relation to the vaccination moves. You'll notice that Robbie Ray would have started one of these games, but his start was moved to Sunday, actually. The start was moved to one of the games that wasn't in Toronto.
Yeah.
So interesting to see if there are any moves that are made the rest of the day. The game starts in about 2 hours. So we'll see. I know that I don't think Adam Frazier's in the lineup today, so that could be another move. But at the moment, I could have seen it. Nope, nothing else has happened. Okay. So we'll continue with that. In league-related news, on the 9th of May, the MLB announced that they will hold events in London. The MLB announced a commitment to hold major events in London over the next 5 years, including regular season games in 2023, 24, and 2026. On the 10th, Angels rookie throws a no-hitter. Reed Detmers throws a no-hitter at the age of just 22 years old, becoming the youngest in Angels history, the first solo no-hitter of the season. On the 11th, the Houston Astros owner wants fans to acknowledge the Yankees cheating. Astros owner Jim Crane says that he'd keep my mouth shut if he were New York Yankees general manager Brian Cashman, who mentioned sign-stealing schemes. I don't want to comment on the Astros because I don't like them as an organization. Also, that day, Christian Yelich hit for the cycle. It is the third time in his career that he's achieved a feat. All three of them have come against the Cincinnati Reds, so it seems like he's kind of bullying on the Reds there. And then also that day, White Sox versus Guardians was postponed as multiple COVID cases within the Cleveland organization were announced, so that game had to be rescheduled. On the 15th, the Reds, and we just talked about the Reds being hit for the cycle. The punches keep coming. The Reds lost despite not allowing a hit. A combined no-hit attempt, which was spearheaded by rookie Hunter Green, was wasted as the Reds lost on a fielder's choice. So the bases were loaded. Art Warren, former Mariner, actually was pitching, and a fielder's choice, the Pirates scored a run, and so that no-hit doesn't really matter. It's kind of funny. That is really rare to happen. And then also on the 15th, Albert Pujols pitches. For the first time in his 22-year career, the legendary player becomes the second oldest in Major League history to have his pitching debut against the Giants. So that was kind of cool. But anyway, we'll keep moving here. So as I mentioned, big road trip coming up. We look at the rest of that road trip as the Mariners sit at a 16-19 record, third in the American League West. May 16th through 18th versus the Blue Jays. The 16th and 17th is a 4:07 start. They're all 4:07 starts. My apologies.
4:07? That's so specific.
Yeah, it's always funny seeing stuff like that. And then a 4-game stretch against the Boston Red Sox, May 19th through 22nd. May 19th and 20th are 4:10 p.m. starts. May 21st is a 1:10 p.m. start. And then May 22nd on Sunday is a 10:35 a.m. start, Pacific time, that is. So